We'll send it back to you, Martha.
All right, Nate, thank you very much. With that, we bring in Alina Habba, attorney for former President Trump. Alina, great to have you here. Thanks for coming by today. I want to read what the judge said about this gag order fine that he put forth today. The judiciary law does not vest the court with authority to craft an appropriate punishment when $1,000 fine will not achieve the intended purpose. And he says in some cases you can go higher, $2,500. But he basically says none of that will matter in this case. And so it may be necessary. Jail may be a necessary punishment. What did you think of that? Do you think he's trying to make a point so that the former president just stops truth socialing about these people?
Well, when you say truth socialing, let's be clear what we're talking about. We're talking about a defendant in a criminal case who's being attacked politically, who's being attacked by his opponents, who's also being attacked by witnesses. And the witnesses in this case have no gag, have no their free speech, their First Amendment rights are completely intact. But then you have a judge who we've asked to recuse themselves for reasons that I can't speak to because of the gag order, as we know. And we have this all going on and on and on. And then he turns and makes statements like that. That is the exact reason, Martha, that the defense team has said this judge needs to recuse. There is a clear political bias here. We're seeing it through the comments. We're seeing it from the way that they speak to the attorneys on the defense table. I've been there. I get it. It happens, but there is no place for it. So I think it's completely unconstitutional. I think when you're a defendant, truthfully, these statements are the statements that you're allowed to hear from the defense, innocent until proven guilty, especially when you've done nothing wrong and when these all have been coordinated. This is past the statute of limitations, and I could go on and on and on.
I mean, everything you're laying out is is all of the perfect sort of puzzle pieces that would fit together for an appeal. Right. But this is the first part of the process. Right. So, I mean, it's possible that this jury could convict him. They hear all day long about Stormy Daniels and payments and Karen McDougal and all of these things, which all of the people that we talk to say is not a crime.
It isn't a crime.
But this is what they're getting.
That's right.
You know, they're getting filled with all day long.
That's
so,
right.
I mean, they may be persuaded by it.
That's right. And that's the concern that I raised last week. And we spoke on this issue. The issue I have is not whether Donald Trump and President Trump did anything wrong. He did not. The facts are on our side. The issue we have is when we have politicized judges and blue juries come in and they're supposed to be impartial, but you have a judge tweaking, reprimanding, putting down counsel on the other side, being harder on one side than the other. That affects the jury, and that's not fair. It's not right. Now, if President Trump was given a fair jury, a fair trial, like anybody else in this country would be because his name is Trump, he doesn't. That's where my concern is, not the facts. The facts are on our side.
So with regard to this gag order, he apparently the former president took down these posts, as Nate just reported. Do you think that we're going to see a change in his behavior because he doesn't want to deal with this, because he doesn't want to risk going to jail?
I don't know. I think that the president is trying to speak for himself and is frustrated because the gag order, I would have you remind the American people, is not just for the president. It was for the president and anybody in his control, campaign, anybody else. How are you supposed to operate? He can't go on the campaign trail, and he's operating at the highest level you've ever seen. Look at the poll numbers. They keep trying to stop him. He'll find ways to fight back. But quite honestly, what I'm seeing is so inappropriate, so unfair, and so one-sided. I don't know how he can stand it, to be honest. It's hard for me to stand it as his attorney. And we respect laws, but we also respect the Constitution. And there has to be a change right now.
It's remarkable. All right, we'll be down there doing live coverage on Thursday. Maybe we'll see you there. Thank you very much, Alina. Good to have you here today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.